been waiting 5 years to make this video. And many of you have been following me along this journey for those 5 years because I've documented the whole thing. You can find it in my playlist on me becoming a financial planner. And I am so excited to be at this point where I can officially say, I'm a financial planner. I am a qualified associate financial planner, QAFP. I just passed my exam. Hey, I'm Jessica Morehouse. If you're new to me, let me share a little bit about what the hell is going on. So I've been a financial content creator before that was a term. I started as a blogger in 2011 and just blogged, did some freelance writing up until 2015 when then I added on a podcast, did this all on top of my day job in sales and marketing. And then in 2017, I was ready to leave my job is the nicest way I can say that, quit and, thought, hey, let's try to figure out how I can do this full time. I've been doing this now in January 2026. That will mark 9 years of being self-employed, running this financial education business, which is my perfect job, quite honestly. I love what I do. However, as I was seeing other people kind of enter the space, on social media and in whatever format, I realized that there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of people saying some crazy things because it's kind of the Wild West when it comes to personal finance content. Anyone can kind of say anything. But also too, I really want to be an educator and content creator that people could trust. And so I have always wanted to make sure that I got credentials, that I got some formal training when it came to financial planning and investing and things like that. And so in 2017, I did my Accredited Financial Counselor Canada training, got that. It's now called the Certified Financial Counselor designation. But after that, and in 2020, I realized I want to keep going. I am not done yet. And I wanted to see how far I could go because I do not have a background in finance. I went to film school in university, so super useful. I guess I'm on YouTube, so maybe it is a bit of a useful degree. But, I didn't come at this knowing much about money. And I was self-taught for a number of years. But then there was a certain point where I needed to know more and I knew my limitations. And so I wanted to get some formal training. Started with a Canadian securities course, which almost killed me. It was so difficult, but I passed both exams. And then I kept on going through the Canadian Securities Institute, doing FP1, FP2, the supplementary courses, LRIS, LETS. And then my most recent video was sharing my experience doing the Qualified Associate Financial Planner prep course, which took me several months. There was a live interview. There was a whole bunch of stuff and coursework you had to do to prove that you knew how to actually make a financial plan for someone. Passed that. And then finally this fall on October 7th, 2025, took the Qualified Associate Financial Planner exam after doing a bunch of prep. I took a prep course through the Business Career College, which I cannot recommend enough. It is the reason I passed this exam, I will say. If I did not take that prep course, I wouldn't have passed. And yeah, it was it was the hardest exam I've ever taken. And I knew this was going to happen because everyone told me it's a really hard exam. And again, coming from someone who I've always kind of struggled with math. I've always kind of, felt intimidated by the financial world and had this imposter syndrome. But I always wanted to push forward, not to just prove it to myself that I could, but to prove it to you. Wherever you're coming from, whatever your background is, I wanted to prove that you can learn this stuff too. And it all kind of came to a head. Recently, I had to wait 6 weeks to get my results. But then I got them. I logged in. Honestly, I waited today. I got an email saying your, results are in. And I'm like, I can't look at it right now. I can't handle this right now. So I waited till the next day, logged in, got a pop-up that said you passed. And I almost fainted because I was really preparing myself for not passing. I just, lots of people have to retake it. The pass rate for the June exam was 75%, which means 75% of test takers passed, 25% didn't. This exam, the October one, it's 77%, so a little bit higher. So that's exciting. And there weren't that many people who took it across Canada. I think it was 45 or 46 people across the country took it. So yeah. So I'm just here to kind of share what happened. And for anyone who's also thinking of taking the QAFP exam or any other kind of financial exam, to kind of share my thoughts. But specifically for the QAFP, I will say that, yeah, taking a prep course if you can, it's so important. Learning the time value of money calculations. I did a video on that recently. Memorize that. I did a lot of those calculations on this particular exam. Again, the one that's going to happen next, which is in February, will be completely different. They change it every time, obviously, so no one can just take the test again if they failed. But this one, there were a lot of calculations. And quite honestly, I was doing some of them and looking at the, it's all multiple choice. And sometimes the answer did not match what I put in the calculator. So I wish they would tell me which questions. I wish they provided me my exam to see what I got right, what I didn't. What I will say in terms of like strategy, I was told in my prep course to not really have a strategy. Just go through the questions, 1 to, I think there was 85 questions on this exam, if I'm not mistaken, and just do your best. And if there's something that you don't know if this is 100% the right answer, just put an answer in there, put a flag on it. So if you have time, you can go back. I did not have time to go back. I'm so glad that I just gave everything an answer, my best guess, kind of. And honestly, I was writing the exam down to the last 20 seconds. There's 20 seconds on the clock. I still had one question to answer, and it was a guess, because the back half of the exam is it's scenarios. So they give you a kind of a story, and then they give you a bunch of questions to go with that story. And I really didn't spend that much time on that because I ran out of time, quite honestly. And I was trying. I kind of like did the kind of math, okay, we have this amount of time left and this amount of questions. Yeah. So if I could go back, would I do the scenarios first and then do the multiple choice, kind of the one answer questions? I don't know, I passed, so I guess maybe what I did worked, but I really wish I had more time with those, because I feel like that's where I got some of them wrong. But who knows? I have no idea. They do not tell you, at least I looked, it did not tell me what mark I got or what percentage. I'm not sure if they ever tell people or they just give you a pass-fail. I'll have to look into that, but I have no idea. I would love to know, but also I guess it doesn't matter because, again, I passed. Some other things. So I chose to do the exam at a location. It was at one of the local colleges. It was just me and this other guy who did it there in this lab, and we were proctored and all that kind of stuff. He left with 20 minutes to spare, and I'm still in shock. I hope he passed. I sure hope he passed. But he walked out. I'm like, you don't need those extra 20 minutes. Give them to me, because I'm scrambling. Literally. Yeah, the time, it was 3 hours. This exam was 3 hours. And, you think 3 hours, 85 questions, that's not the worst. Yeah, no, it's not enough time. And honestly, I told FB Canada, there's a survey that you can take after, and I told them it's not enough time. But I personally liked being in a completely different environment than my home. You can take it at home, because honestly, the few times I've done an proctored at home exam, I found it more stressful, because also you have to worry about what if my, electricity cuts out or my internet cuts out, then you're screwed. Then you can't, then that's the exam done. And so then you have to wait till the next exam. So I just didn't want to have that on my mind. I just wanted to go there and everything's good. Everything else is beyond my control. And I thought that was really helpful. And then I did other kind of silly things, but were helpful. Brought my own pencils. They do provide you pencils and paper, but I just brought my own just in case. I brought earplugs, and I would recommend that. Even though it was completely quiet in that room, there's still ambient noise. There's the air conditioner. There's footsteps. So that just kind of blocked everything out and was really helpful. Obviously brought my calculator that I was really familiar with, because that was the one that I used all the time. And yeah, and then you just lock in and focus and do it. And honestly, I would always recommend staying to the end. Do not leave with 20 minutes to spare. Just sit there just in case you miss something. But there's no reason to, I don't know, the best advice I've ever gotten about test taking is don't rush it. Take your time, because when you rush it, that's when mistakes are had. On the other flip side, also trust your gut. So don't overthink things. Sometimes I feel like maybe it's a good thing I didn't have time to go back and review some of my answers because maybe I would have chosen the wrong one. When you second guess yourself, even though the first time was right. So I don't know, there's something to that as well. Now, in terms of what's on the exam, honestly, I don't think there's any point in me sharing. To be fair, I don't quite remember. I feel like I kind of blacked out. It was a lot of stress, and I feel like I don't know. But it doesn't really matter because whatever is going to be on the exam next time is going to be completely different. What I would say is it did stay, I'd say, pretty in line with the kind of themes and categories of types of questions that you can find on FB Canada's website. It did stay pretty close to that. So I wasn't super surprised. Things that weren't on it, but it could be on your exam. So again, don't listen to me. I was really expecting, some bond calculation questions. I was ready. Not one bond question. Not one. I was kind of disappointed. I was ready to answer those questions. Now, if you're wondering also how I studied and prepared for the exam, now I did have a spreadsheet, and I know I've shared some spreadsheets that helped me pass some previous exams, and you can download those, but I can't share the one that I did for QAFP just because a lot of the notes I took were taken specifically from the Business Career College's curriculum. And so I don't want to get sued. So, but you did how I kind of take notes and create kind of a world where I can keep everything organized is, I just had spreadsheets. That's how it makes sense in my mind. And that was very helpful. So I would quite honestly just again say, if you are taking the QFB or CFB exams, I can personally recommend the BCC. They were really well organized, really great. And also I just love that now I have all of those PDFs and curriculum just for the future. Honestly, I've looked at some of those since for when I get a question and I'm like, wait, there was something in one of these documents that talked about that. So it was a really good kind of resource just for the exam and for the future. So I feel like that might be all I can share that's in my mind. Honestly, this video I'm doing is not scripted. I'm just talking free flow, if you haven't noticed. But if you do have any questions that maybe I haven't addressed, leave them in the comments. I love getting those questions all the time, especially on my previous videos. I still get questions about the Canadian Securities course that I took 5 years ago. So please leave them in the comments and let me know, and I'd be happy to do my best to answer any questions that you may have, because I've gone through the whole process and am on the other side of it. But now the thing is, okay, great. I did this. I have the QAFP. Now what? Now, obviously, it's on my mind whether I should do the CFP or not. I don't need it because I don't have plans to open up my own financial planning firm and do that full time or work for a firm. And I have no desire to work with, fairly high net worth individuals that need help with trusts and corporations. That's kind of the biggest difference between the CFP and QAFP in terms of your kind of breadth of knowledge. But I don't want to say never, because what if I decide to take it in the future? Just again, as a way for me to show, oh, I can do this. And I do know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. But you've got those naysayers in your head from your past, and you just kind of want to prove them a little wrong, make your haters your motivators. So we'll see if I do the CFP in the future. I don't know. And if there's other designations I want to, I don't know. We'll have to see. I need to just kind of enjoy the fact that after 5 years, this journey is complete, which is really, really exciting. And the other component is, what do I want to do with the QAFP? I don't want to just say, hey, I got it. That's great. But there's definitely some things that I want to integrate into my business. I took kind of a step back from taking on new clients for, as a financial counselor, but now I'm a financial planner. And I think working with one-on-one clients is something that I would like to continue doing in the future, but doing it in a bit of a different way, because now I can offer different services, a lot more comprehensive, retirement planning, projections. I can finally, get some proper financial planning software that is only accessible to financial planners. So I'm going to kind of explore that. So we will see, but I'm excited to see what I want to do with this, because I have learned so much over these past 5 years. It was the best decision I've ever made. And I even had some people question, recently and a long time ago, why am I doing this? Because there's a lot of people who have a lot more followers and probably make a lot more money than me that have no credentials. So why focus my energy on this? Well, it's because I'm in this business not to get a lot of followers and to make a lot of money. I want to get enough followers and make enough money to reach my goals and make me feel fulfilled. But I started this without ever making money. I was a blogger and never made a dime for like years. So the reason I'm doing this is because I'm really passionate about it. I love teaching people about money. I want to continue doing this until I'm old and wrinkly. And to do this to my best capabilities, I want to get, some proper education and training. And I'm so glad I did, because I know I'm going to be such a better educator and content creator because of this background that I now have. And also now I can be part of some of the financial planning, kind of not committees, but what are they? There's like a couple different organizations. Specifically, you have to have one of these designations to get in. And it's always been kind of an exclusive club that I'm excited to take part in, just to see like what's going on over there. What are we talking about? Let me in. I'm one of you now. So I'm kind of excited to explore that too. Well, that's all my thoughts. Thanks for listening. I hope it's been helpful. Again, if you have any questions at all about the journey to become a financial planner in Canada, taking courses like to get there. Again, I went through the Canadian Securities Institute, but now there's a lot more different ways you can do it. I mean, you can take courses directly through FP Canada. And if I were to start things over again, and if that were an option, I might do that just because it's pretty straightforward. But I don't know. Who knows? But anyways, thanks for listening and watching me ramble. And I'm just excited to share this really good news with you, especially everyone who's, subscribed to this YouTube channel and followed me along this journey these past many, many years. So thank you, and I will see you in my next video.